Okay, so spring has sprung, the sun is beaming down, I'm wearing a hat because I haven't had a haircut in a while, it's Friday, you know what that means, it's time to get some ferments on the go, something refreshing, something that we can whip out when the sun's shining, just to sip on. Delicious. We're going to be doing a Tepache, but not just any Tepache, as you guessed by the name of this video. This is my Pear and Juniper Tepache. So if you haven't heard of Tepache before, this is a Mexican fermented beverage. It's made with pineapples, sugar, water and a cinnamon stick. It's super tasty, it's super light, it's super refreshing, alright? And super easy to make. Not like kombucha, you need to get a whole scoby and all of it. None of that, right? Super simple. Now the good thing about Tepache, if you haven't heard of it before, is that it's sustainable. Great buzzword, right? Sustainability. Wonderful stuff. And the reason is, you don't just use the flesh of the pineapple, you also use the rind. It's this outside bit. The bit you normally chop off and throw in the bin, we're going to use that to ferment with. That's what's going to have all that beautiful natural yeast on it. That's what's going to get the fermentation started. So no need for a ginger bug or a yeast starter or anything like that. It's all going to be on this rind. The other thing is it's a ferment, so it's loaded with probiotics, yet another buzzword. Great stuff. So let's get into how I make my Pear Tepache. Right, first thing you'll need is a jar. Big, sterilised, wide base, wide head jar like this. Get that to one side. I'm going to remove the top of the pineapple. Grab it like that, give it a twist. And that should pop right off. Put that on the side, use it to garnish some drinks, maybe plant it outside, growing up a pineapple. It's up to you. Now, we're going to chop the top and the bottom of this pineapple, and then we're going to start peeling off the skin. You want to do quite thick cuts so you get some pineapple on there as well. Grab those skins, rinds, whatever you want to call them. If you're making normal Tepache, you'll also put all the flesh in, the core of that, you'll put that whole pineapple in there. But that's not what we're doing. We're doing my Pear Tepache, so we just want the rind. The rest of this, we're going to save it. Maybe we'll juice it, maybe we'll caramelise it, you know, who knows, maybe we'll just have a little snack. Why not? Grab to have some pears. I got these as the farm stores pears. Look at these. And you want about, oh my god. Look at that pear. Talk about wonky pears. Look at that. What a funky looking pear. Oh, looks like cucumber. Ain't no pear I've seen. I'm gonna save that one. Don't ask why. Pears. Chop the top off. Chop the bottom off. Weigh it out. Top. Bottom. Weigh it out. We've got about 300 grams of pears. That should be fine. Normally I just do this on a feeling, but I know people like specifics, so that's why we're going in with a weigh-in. 300 grams of pear. We're just going to chop, dice that up and put that in the jar along with everything else. Don't have to be specific. We're not looking for specific type cuts. Just slice it up, you know. Make sure your pear's nice and ripe. That's about it. Good old juicy pear. Don't worry about the skin. Lots of flavour in there as well. Next up, we've got to add the sugar and we've got to add the spices. So I've got my spices here. I've got cinnamon, I've got nutmeg, I've got juniper berries, all that stuff that's nice. We're going to toast those off, and then we're also going to dissolve our sugar in water. So go up to the kitchen and we're going to do that right now. Okay, like I said, we got the spices there. See, I didn't lie. Now we're just going to pour that into a hot, dry pan. Get it nice and hot. You don't want to burn the spices, but we're just toasting them until they get real fragrant. Should take a couple of minutes, 2 minutes, should just about do it, medium-high heat. Now on the left here, we've got our sugar syrup. That is 250 grams of brown sugar, 250 millilitres of water, and we're just going to dissolve that in hot water, take it off, let it cool. That should take 10 minutes in total, probably about half an hour to cool, and then we're good to go. Okay, so once you've got your spices, pour them in over the top, give it a little shake, get them nice and involved within the jar. This is a very social jar, we want everything to be involved. We're going to go in the sugar syrup. Here's the sugar syrup, just in a mug I got. Ooh. Pour that in. And then we're just going to top it with water. I've got 1 whole pint of water down here. Let's see if that should do it. There we go, a little bit more, a little bit over a pint I'll say. 600 millilitres of water, as I'm going to put a bit more in. Then we're just going to let this ferment out. Now, is it going to be alcoholic? No, it's not. Yes, fermentation creates CO2 and alcohol, but it really depends how long you leave it. If we leave this for like 3 or 4 days, maybe a week, we're going to have a bit of alcohol in there. Maybe 1%, 1.5 if we really leave it out. However, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to ferment this for about a day, day and a half. Whatever alcohol is going to be, there's going to be less alcohol in that than in a banana. Alright? Super low alcohol, pretty much none. It's non-alcoholic. And it's just going to ferment now. If we put this in a jar with a lid, we close the lid, that's going to keep all that CO2 inside the liquid. It's going to make it really bubbly, which if you want to do, you can do. But the only thing to note with that is that it might explode, alright? Fermentation can get out of control, especially with pineapples. It's highly aggressive fermentation. It can easily pop that lid off. You've got Pear Tepache all over. However, you also don't just want to leave it like this, or the gas will escape. Yeah, that's good, that's what we want. There'll still be some left in there. It's going to make it lightly sparkling. And if we bottle it up, we can produce more of that, but maybe that's what we'll do. We'll bottle it up. That'll be good. Might bottle it up. Probably not a lot to bottle up. We're going to bottle it up. However, my point is, bad bacteria can get in there. That's not what you want. You want all that good bacteria, all those probiotics to be thriving. If you leave it open like this, anything can just get in there and it's not going to be good. So what we're going to do to stop that, let the gas come out, let nothing go in. We can even get a little cap with a little airlock on there, but who's got time for that? Well, you can just get a towel and you're going to put that over the top like so, and then we're just going to get a little elastic band, tie up the top of that, and that's going to let all that gas come out, but no nasties are going to get in. And there we have it, Pear Tepache. So I'm going to come back to this in about 1.5, 2 days. Who knows? I might even have a haircut in that time. You never know. And then we'll strain this off, possibly bottle it. See you then.
3 days later.
So the Tepache is fermented and it is ready to strain. Now a few things have happened, so let me explain. First of all, I still haven't got a haircut, but I have lost a hat. Secondly, I was going to ferment it for 1 day. It's been 3 days since I started. What happened was I started fermenting it and after 1 day, nothing had happened. No fermentation. But that's the lesson. These things happen. Now the idea is that the natural yeast on the skin of the pineapple is going to be enough to get that fermentation going. And you can tell because, you know, it's going to have those bubbles inside it. It's going to be bubbling up. It might even have the white foam on top. They're all good signs. But that didn't happen. It didn't ferment. So I left it for another day. I thought maybe it'll pick it up. It didn't. So in that situation, there's a few things you can do. First, try moving it around, trying to get the temperature right. You really want it to be in that place where it's dark, it's not too warm, but it's not too cool. So play around with it, move it around, which is what I did after the first day. Still nothing, so I went for some more chemical help. And I got some express wine, yeast and nutrients. And this you can just pick up anywhere. It's basically just wine yeast. You can get beer yeast, wine yeast, but this is the nutrients. It's made up of dried yeast and yeast nutrients. So I just pop the lid off, it's like this little dried powder, sprinkled a little bit on top, a little extra yeast, and then suddenly, within like a few hours, it started bubbling. So problem solved. So even though it has been 3 days, if I was fermenting Tepache for 3 days, it might come out at like 2.5%. It might be quite strong, it might be quite boozy in terms of Tepache, but in reality, it's only been fermenting for 1 day. So it should still be pretty low, it should still be less than 0.5, maybe even 1%. Who knows, like I said, it's been 3 days. And what's happened? It didn't ferment, it might have been fermenting, then we added the yeast and it was fermenting, but now it's ready. So we can crack that open. But you might ask, how do you know it's ready? That's a feeling, you can taste it as you go along. You might have some white foam on top. That's all right, that's a good sign. You can scrape that off, or you can just leave it in there. It don't really matter. Shake it about. You should hear the fizz, you should get all these bubbles coming up top. That is another good sign. But just taste it. Get a spoon in there, give it a taste, see how it is. Now, we're gonna strain it off. So, got a bottle, funnel, fine strainer, and then, just to get out those little bits, I've also got, oh, not that one, I had another one. Little muslin cloth. Where did I put that? Let me find my crepe muslin. Here we are, back again. This one's a bag. That's not a bag. I used that to go on top. Remember I had that towel? I got rid of the towel. I said, why use the towel? Use this instead. So, that goes on top like that. In there. Now it's time to strain it. This is where a bit of spillage happens. That's okay, bit of spillage, it's gonna happen, right? Especially when you're working with such a tall bottle. Let's see how successful this is. There we go. Oi! Well, that wasn't too bad. Barely spilt any, a couple of splashes here and there. Now at the bottom you might have all this little gross stuff, bit of sediment. That's just the yeast. Don't worry about it. It's fine, right? Don't worry. And you don't need the second bag. I just like to make sure there's no tiny little bits getting through. I like it to be pretty pure. Don't like those little floaters. But that's just personal preference, you know? I also buy smooth orange juice because I don't like the one with bits in. So personal preference. Now I can't remember how much we put in this, so I'll have to re-look at that, but I'll put it on screen somewhere, the recipe which we follow. Like I said, it's been a few days. But point being, we came out with, this is a 750 to the line. Yeah, we got about 750 millilitres. We got a whole bottle of Tepache out of that, so pretty good yield. Little cap on top. Put that in. And there we go, look at that. We got nice bubbles. Give it a shake. You see we've got some nice bubbles coming through. Looks good. Beautiful colour to it. All those little bubbles, it's nice and fizzy. Where do we go from here? Well, we can leave that outside the fridge for another day. Leave it somewhere warm, let it ferment more. This time, none of the gas is going to be able to escape. So it's just going to get trapped right in there with the liquid. Also hit it with a bit of sugar in there, give the yeast that's still in there something to feed off, and that's going to even make it even more bubbly. Then after a day, stick it in the fridge. What's going to happen is we're going to get a risk of exploding bottles. Especially, I wouldn't use this bottle with this cap because I've done it before with a wine, and this, it's not fermentation grade, right? The cap of this just blew off like that. It was banana wine, I had banana wine all over, scared the absolute shit out of me, had to clean it all up, tough stuff on the ceiling. Oh! If I was doing that, I'll stick in a different bottle, a fermentation grade bottle, maybe a swing top, might even cap it, got a little capper, and it's ready to go. I'm just gonna stick that in the fridge. Once you stick it in the fridge, any yeast that's in there is gonna die. As long as your fridge is cold enough, it's not going to ferment, and if it does, it's going to ferment really slowly. So you're pretty safe in the fridge, which is why I say if you want to carbonate it, leave it out the fridge for an extra day and then put it in the fridge. Serving wise, you can just serve this over ice. You know, you can do so much with it. We can even hit that with a bit of vodka. Have a little Tepache hard seltzer Tepache. That would work well. But let me grab a glass and we'll go pour some out, have a little taste test together. Here we go. As it is, a Mexican fermented beverage. I've got these little sustainable Mexican made glasses, which are pretty cool. Bit of ice over that. Pour that out. And we can have a little taste of that, see how it is. Smells nice, smells yeasty, fermented. That's what you want. You want that fermentation smell. Oh, it smells like probiotics. That's a good thing. Tastes like antioxidants. So yeah, that tastes nice. Definitely tastes pineapple. This one's a little bit sweet. It could definitely do with another day of fermentation. I would say that's less. That's probably about 0.1% ABV. So, but delicious. Lightly sparkling. You can taste the pear, the pineapple, the juniper in there, the cinnamon sticks, all those toasted spices come through really lightly, which is what you want. You don't want to identify them straight away. You don't want to say, oh, that tastes like juniper, that tastes like cinnamon. But they're just background things just to help kind of create a bit of depth, a bit of layers to it, a bit of character, all that good stuff. So try it out, you know. If I was doing this one again, I'll probably hit it with just a few more spices. Really like to ramp those up a little bit. I'd probably add the yeast nutrients after 12 hours. If I didn't see anything after 12 hours, I'd add the extra yeast, the extra nutrients, if it wasn't fermenting on its own. And yeah, I think I am actually going to leave this out. So I'm going to leave this out for one day, put it in the fridge, let it ferment a bit more, let it become a little bit more drier, less sweet. I'm not saying it's overly sweet, but it's noticeably sweet. I want it to be really dry. And one thing to do while you're doing this secondary fermentation is just to burp the bottle. So just open it and then close it. Do that about 2 or 3 times a day. It's going to let any gas build up to release. It's going to make sure you don't get any exploding bottles. You know, and you'll know if you pull it off and there's a big pop, you know you need to do it a few more times. So leave this out for a day, stick it in the fridge, boom, there you go. It's a Tepache with a twist. Pear, juniper, cinnamon. What else do we put in there? Can't remember. Toasted spices, pear, and pineapple rind Tepache. That's delicious. You can even mix this in a cocktail. That is going to go delicious with tequila, a bit of mezcal, a bit of smokiness. That'll be beautiful. Cheers. Enjoy Tepache.